Hello! It's a Friday, I'm not at work, I'm out fishing. Normally that's a good thing, but first cast with a feeder rod I smashed up a tip. So hopefully that's the bad luck tax paid for this venue. And hopefully there's fish to come. Roll that intro. Here is the bait tray today. Today we have maggots, just a mixed maggots, corn, hemp, castor. 2 pint of maggot, 2 pint of castor. There is worms in there. We have bait tech bream and black crumb, about 5 kilos ish for today. We're going to feed quite heavy and maybe do some chopped worm later on. I have 2 more of these sitting on the bank, so I don't have to kind of, if I'm going to feed worm I have to kind of feed a lot of it here, so this is why I buy the worm. But look at that for a view, besides the big dark clouds rolling in. My target is this little bush. Here, that little bush. I'm fishing at 58 meters, and I'm into 13 seconds of depth with a 50 gram feeder, so it's quite deep. Let's hope the rain stays away. Had to retreat to the van. What only in Fermanagh can, to the left of you be beautiful blue skies, the right of you be beautiful blue skies, but the exact fucking point where you put your seat box, it's a column of torrential rain and wind. So I've retreated back to the van until it blows over. I actually think there's hailstones, because when I was sitting and I got into the van, it was almost like hailstones hitting the van. My God. Broke feeder tip on a Dutch Distance Master feeder rod. That's like 30 quid. Got rained off of my seat box. At least I'm dry, because I'm in the Big Daddy Fat Bastard bitters. Although I technically don't think I needed the Big Daddy Fat Bastard bitters today. I could have wore the thigh bitters, but I wanted to try them on. So I'm probably going to put a hoodie on, because the wind's actually quite nippy. And then go fishing again. Maybe I'll show you this if you can see it. I'll turn the van on a bit. Right over there, blue loveliness. Out there, grey, shitty, windy storminess. Blue lovely, torrential rain and hailstones. I don't think God likes me today.
A few moments later.
I had to retreat to the van there for a wee bit. The weather just got absolutely horrendous. I honestly think there was hailstones at one point. But I'm back at it, manned up, put on a hoodie, put on a jacket, and getting back into it. I'm still casting the bait up feeder. I'm wanting to get a bed of particles and a bed of feed down, hoping that stuff will come in. At the minute I've just had one perch, but I think that was on the drop. So, you know, you can, when the tip's like that there as it's sinking, the tip will bounce back when it hits the bottom. Well, the tip's like that as it's sinking and it's going like that there. Well, then something's hit it on the drop, and the weight of the feeder has hooked the fish. It wasn't a big perch, it was only a small perch, but it's the fact that there was one fish. But I wanted to get the particles into the ground and wanting to get the bed of bait there. Because what will happen is there's like a big trench here that's deep in the deeper water, and the hybrids and the bream will basically work their way up and down it. At night time they'll go into the shallow water to my left, which is Trory Bay. You can really only fish Trory at night. During the daytime it's a waste of your time. You know, even casting 100 metres, you're still in relatively shallow water, and having to cast 100 metres all day, it's a bit of a bollocks. Whereas when you come to this place, you're still casting 50 something metres, but you're casting into deeper water straight away. Makes it easier fishing. Well, touching wood. Serious tow in the water. Serious tow heading towards that way. You know, so you're just got to keep the bait going in. I've got you mounted on a bank stick that's connected to my sight box. So the more I move, the more it fucking moves. We're too deep here for a tripod, so you'll just have to get seasick watching me. Still chucking a 50 gram bait up feeder to a 4 foot 7 pound hook length, size 12 hook, and as many maggots as I can put on the size 12 hook. As many maggots as I can get, but they're running low. I'm going to have to change the battery, so I'm going to say bye bye.
One eternity later.
See, perfect blue skies. Give it 5 minutes and it'll be pissing with rain again. Bit of excitement. I had a trout. Not a very big trout, about 4 pound ish. We got it all the way to the net and it broke me off. And the trout guys say there's no trout in Lough Erne. I've changed the feeders down to a smaller size. I'm no longer chucking this sort of size anymore. I'm chucking like a normal sized feeder. Giving it 4 minutes on the bottom each cast, 4 to 5 minutes. For the first 2 hours of the session I was throwing bait up feeders, so trying to get lots of particles down there, which is good. Get the particles on the ground, hopefully get the fish in. Part of me wants to put all the particles I have in and then come back here tomorrow. But it being the weekend, there'll likely be somebody here from first light. It's one of those things. Still better than being at work. I've been looking for a perspex window thing for my boat to go on the navigation bar at the top. The thinking being, when I'm standing up going from A to B, you know, it just gets a little bit of a shield that kind of keeps the rain out of my face. Taking the boat out and having a drive around in it, and being the sort of size of a man that I am, you're kind of hunched behind the steering wheel like this to try and get through the windows. So I'd prefer to stand up and go and move that way. I picked up my Scotty rod holder adapter things to go on the rail. They arrived in. I'm only putting 4 rod rests on the boat. There's rocket launcher style ones. There's already 4 of them on the back of the boat. There's 4 of them on the navigation bar. So it's a case of, Scotty rod rests. I'm only putting 4 of them on, because if I'm fishing on the boat by myself, I'm only fishing 4 rods. If there's somebody out in the boat with me, then we're fishing 2 rods each. So we have, 2 rods each. It's muscle memory trying to remember how to reverse a trailer, because it's basically everything's the opposite, So the only way I'm going to get good at reversing trailers with the boat is going to be just by sheer practice. It's just by practicing. So I'll keep doing it. Still thinking about maybe something bigger than the van. Oh, that was a bite and I missed it. Thinking of getting a 4x4, because the van, it's a 2 litre VW engine and it's man enough to move the trailer in the boat. But I'm thinking something with two-wheel drive's a bit slow, whereas 4-wheel drive makes it a bit easier. I'm just in the process of thinking about it at the minute. I haven't mentioned to Mrs. S that this is what I'm wanting to do. Because if the truth be told, Mrs. S's car could probably be done with replacing as well. Her car's of an age where it could be replaced. Have lots of needs but very little pennies to make the needs come through. And that's where the way I'm going. My daughter turns 3 at the end of this month. Where the fuck did that time go? 3 years old. Where did that time go? Oh, come on, you bastard of a thing. And we're on the bottom. It'd be nice if some of the bream that live here turned up. I know there's some cracking bream that I usually catch out of here, but it just depends on what time of the year. When this place is getting fished regular, there's a lot of bait goes into it on the regular, and that's actually quite good because it holds the fish here. There's a couple of fellas that I know that fish here quite regular. They will come down, they will camp out, they will basically fish for a weekend, and they're putting a lot of bait in. this place really responds to pre-bait, which is part of me is thinking, about coming back here tomorrow and fishing on top of where I was fishing today, because all the bait I'm putting in today, I'll be honest with you, I could put in 5 kilos of crumb and maybe 10 pints of assorted particles. It won't be there tomorrow morning. It'll be gone. It'll be away in hours. But I do pre-bait with this place. I mean, the green census buckets. The last time I did this place and pre-baited it, I came down with 3 green census buckets of crumb and particle. Castor, hemp, sweet corn, lots of sweet corn. I went and bought 10 bags of sweet corn from Iceland. The cheap, 1 kilo per a pound bag. Bought 10 of those. I boiled my own hemp. Oh, that was a nibble. And it came down literally with a spod rod and clipped up to where I wanted it to be clipped up, and just kept going until I'd finished with the buckets of ground bait and stuff. The next day the fishing was absolutely phenomenal. I had a couple of friends across from England when we did it. That was 2015, so it's a bit of time ago. Almost 10 years. I mean, the issue when you're fishing somewhere like this, because it is so vast, the bream could be anywhere. They could be in front of you, or they could be, miles and miles and miles and miles away from you. So baiting up a swim does help. Now that I have a boat, that's going to make baiting up a swim a lot easier, I'm thinking. But it would be difficult, because I'm leave work, finish work at 5, maybe 5:30, back home, get out of work clothes, hitch up the van into the boat, drive from Omagh to Enniskillen, put the boat in, get from where I put the boat in to where I'm fishing, pre-bait, mark it up. I'd use basically I'd use a GPS marker on the phone so I kind of know where it is. If it was a quiet enough swim, you could probably do something like putting like an actual H block marker in, but you couldn't do that here. Too many people, too many boats, and if somebody's seen a H block floating in the water, they'd be pulling it out. Because they'd be thinking, oh, I've just got a free H block marker. If it was a quieter swim, then I would use... You don't have to buy H blocks to mark your swims. That's off. You don't have to buy H blocks. Mountain Dew bottles that are luminous green, they're brilliant markers. I would spill on some old braid. Not a lot of braid, depending on where I'm marking up. Depending on where you're marking up. And that was a zebra mussel. No bites, then maggots weren't even touched. But say you're fishing in 30 feet of water. 30 feet's only 10 metres. It's not a lot. So I'd quite happily put, 11 metres of old nylon, old mono, or old braid. You just have to tie a loop knot around the bottle top. I'll have to do a video on that, because no doubt the way I'm talking, people are going to be thinking, the fuck's he on about?
Meanwhile.
That's how much the current is ripping around the 2-ounce tip. I'm thinking I might change it to a 4. It's manageable at the minute, but if it gets much worse, I'm going to have to up the tip strength. So what's happening in the world of the normal people? I see that the whole Star Wars franchise is beyond dead. I mean, Jesus, I didn't think they could do much more to it than what they've already done to it. The Acolyte series now is wow. Did you know that you can't say good light side and dark side anymore? Because apparently light side and dark side is a racial thing now. I'm a man in my early 40s. I grew up watching things like Star Wars. Quite liked it. Quite enjoyed it. Had the little toys. I had a Millennium Falcon. I liked Star Wars. Lots of escapism. Because 1980s Northern Ireland was a place where you needed friggin' escapism. But the basic gist of the story is you had a good guy and he defeated the bad guy. And in the end, the good guy got speaking to the bad guy, and the bad guy regretted being a bad guy. That was Star Wars. And then they brought out, the prequels, where they discovered the main bad guy, the Darth Vader character. But it's like, okay, some of the prequels kind of sucked, some of the characters were kind of one-dimensional and shit, but you kind of went, okay, fair enough. I genuinely didn't really mind some of the Star Wars stuff, but it seems to be that the Star Wars has kind of been captured by the feminists. So hence the whole light side and dark side. I have got friends that are like African and like saying to them, you can't say dark side anymore because that's a reference to you. And like my friends that are black, they're kind of looking at this, just shaking their head. It's this forcing this bullshit to everyone's face. It's like my mates that are gay. They absolutely cannot tolerate the pandering. You have people that are in charge of Star Wars at the minute coming out and saying, this will be the gayest Star Wars ever. Because who the fuck ever cared, they're saying, oh well, such and such a character has to be gay now. It's like, who cares? I just get so tired of the whole thing. call it the Oppression Olympics or Victim Olympics. And if you're a woman, that means you're oppressed. But if you're a woman with one leg, that means that you're more oppressed than just a woman. So if you're a lesbian woman that's got one leg, you're getting right up there in the Oppression Olympics. That sort of shit fries my brain. I grew up in a household where my mother ruled the roost. She's not a big, tall, muscle-bound lady. She's just a normal, small, wee Irish mother. But you didn't step on her toes. Even now, me being like 6'2" in the size I am, still be very careful what I say to my mother. So the idea that women are weak, that's kind of bullshit to me. Having watched my wife give birth, women aren't weak. Sure, they might not be physically as strong as me that can lift, whatever. But I don't think you can measure strength just by what's in your arm. And we're in. Woohoo! It's not very big. I'm waiting for these big hybrids in Bream to turn up. And then it's found a bed of weed. And now you just have to pull it through the weed. Oh, it's a perch. No wonder it felt a bit weird. Gets through this shit. Hey, perch. Perch. Everything's covered in grass.
Eventually.
Duckies! We're going to have rain in another second. Oh joy. It's been slow today so far. Despite putting in bait quite a little bit, still a bit slow. Of course, in the grand scheme of things, the bait that I've put in is not a drop in the ocean. Oh, here comes the wind.
1 hour later.
Reading the newspaper. Always a good laugh reading the newspaper. There was this land whale, big chunky girl. who was in the newspaper giving out about the flying airport experience. She was saying that the airplane should make seats for fat people. And it's like, reading it, I was there going, you know, as a fat person, compared to these people, I'm positively fucking skinny. I think alarm bells in your own head must kind of go off if you're watching something. You're going to go onto a plane and your arse is that big it takes 2 fucking seats. Something in your brain's bound to go, I need to get a grip of this. But no, she'd said that she wanted the wheelchair to take her to the flight to the airplane. Can you imagine being the wee worker girl there? It was wee female apparently. On minimum wage. You imagine pushing a wheelchair and seeing this fucking bog monster coming towards you? She was something like £570, this woman. Now, the Americans do it a wee bit differently to what we do over here in the UK. But I'm going to go out there and say £570 is a fuck ton. Well, anyway, the wee girl pushing the wheelchair seen this behemoth and went, fuck that. Ditched the wheelchair and done a runner. Because you can't really blame her, can you? Can you imagine it? Kind of having to push a ton of weight. Push an absolute ton of weight because some fat bastard can't walk. I'd see the point if it was like somebody that lost legs or something in a car crash or somebody that's genuinely disabled. But eating too much cake is not a disability. And again, as a fat person, I fear I can say this. She was saying that her lips were white and she was out of breath walking up the ramp to the stairs into the plane. And it's like, somewhere in your own head you're bound to go, wait a minute. Maybe I need to do something with myself here. Because if I'm out of breath walking up a flight of fucking stairs, then maybe, just maybe, I have bigger problems than traumatising the minimum wage security staff at a fucking airport. You can just imagine the wee worker, can't you? Having this thing coming towards you. Boom! 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 Fucking. And the little worker like this giving it, fuck that, no way. I'm out of here. I could just imagine her saying, I don't get paid enough for this shit. Another hybrid. That one was shitting on me. Thanks, hybrid. Oh. It is slow fishing. I'm up to like 9 or 10 fish now. A couple of them is perch, but it's very slow. You just have to let the feeder sit in the bottom of the water for a bit longer. I've tried everything. We're going to actually try a worm here. But I've tried, 3 maggots on the hook, as many maggots as I can physically put on the hook. On that occasion it was as many maggots as I could fit on the hook. I'm going to try a worm. I think I'm going to break this boy in half a bit here. Put the tail there. Try a bigger bit. Half a worm. Topped with a red maggot. If you were to bream, you'd eat that. At least I hope you'd eat that. Still fishing the same little bush. Still pinging out the same sort of distance. Still taking 13 seconds for it to fall to the ground. Oh. But at least we're catching fish. Beautiful day, isn't it? In between torrential showers of rain and wind and all the other stuff. Right, let's put them back. Some nice chunky hybrids. And away. Only had 12 in the end, but as you can see they're all a pretty good stamp, so I'm going to take a drive home and have a beer.